Hey, what's going on, Z Nation? Zaid here, ZSPN, and today, guys, we're going to be talking about the Denver Broncos as it concerns the 2020 NFL draft results. I just want to give you guys my thoughts and my opinions about the Denver Broncos draft results of 2020, and just wanted to go in depth of what sort of direction that they went during the draft and how did it all pan out at the end of the day. And I just want to give you guys my thoughts and my opinions about it. But before anything, like always, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share my videos all over Facebook, Twitter, all the good social media stuff. And guys, like always, please be sure to like my page on Facebook, ZSPN, and also follow me on Twitter at ZSPN_sports. I also made an account for Instagram for this channel as well. It is ZSPN_sports on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. I do appreciate every single one of you for showing me the love and support for my channel, and of course on all my social media sites. You guys just continue to show the love and support for my channel during these difficult times that we are in, and obviously you know, you guys are just an amazing audience on YouTube. I do appreciate every single one of you. But without further ado, let's just get right into it with the results of the NFL draft, and aka the virtual draft. You know, it was just something that was very interesting to watch. I kind of predicted that they will do this, but you know, most people did. But you know, it is what it is. During these times, you know, people want to be safe about the protection of the fans and of course the players as well. So going virtual was a smart way for the NFL to do so. So I mean, I was entertained at times, but at the same time, I kind of missed the sort of social events and, you know, having players holding the jerseys and, you know, taking pictures with Roger Goodell. But you know, it is what it is. But without further ado, let's just get to the draft of the Denver Broncos. Some of you already know me by now. I am a Bronco fan. I'm a huge Bronco fan, but most of my channel is 100% the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'm proud and I bleed purple and gold every single time when I upload on this channel. But at the same time, you know, there's not a lot of news about the NBA and of course the Los Angeles Lakers since the COVID-19 has emerged. So obviously I had to do what I had to do to keep you guys entertained, and you know, I'm just trying my best to find certain ways for keeping this channel alive. And you know, like I said, with your support and your love, I just continue on to do these videos, and I do appreciate all of you for showing me the love and support. But you know, getting to the results of the Broncos selection, the key part that I can honestly say that the Broncos went in this draft, and that was getting players to surround the young quarterback that we have in Drew Lock. It's just basically obvious. I mean, they all went in on offensive players. Most of them were wide receivers, and I believe there was a tight end and a center, and I think there was a left guard, something around there. But I think maybe most of the draft that the Broncos selected, there were some defensive players, and one in particular, it was in the third round. It was a CB, which honestly they really needed since the departure of Chris Harris Jr. to the LA Chargers. So with that sort of mindset that the Broncos went in this year's draft, they were just getting obviously some basic needs, but at the same time, they just surrounded Drew Lock with some great selections in this year's draft to protect him and also to be a reliable receiver when it comes to Drew Lock, you know, passing the ball. So, throwing the ball. But to get into it, obviously the number one pick that the Broncos obviously needed to get, and that was a wide receiver. Okay, with hands down, the first round was supposed to be a wide receiver, and me personally, I think this was the best selection for the Denver Broncos when it comes down to the best receiver in this year's draft, and that is Jeudy. Okay, Jeudy is one of those guys that you had to go for because, you know, stats wise, When it comes to him playing in college, he went back-to-back 1,000 yards. It was just obviously a good choice for the Denver Broncos to get, and he's one of those guys that some people are comparing him to. So guys, I just believe that Jeudy is just honestly one of the best wide receivers to be selected in this year's draft, and especially in the first round. And honestly, even though he lacks speed-wise, I can honestly say that the Broncos' selection in the second round made that up. And honestly, getting KJ, I believe his last name is Hamler, somewhere around there. Hamler, obviously they went for a guy like him because of his speed and his athleticism. And me personally, I kind of compare him to an Emmanuel Sanders, to be honest with you, because of his height. And honestly, with his speed, I see seeing his highlights and how he played in Penn State. Honestly, he's just one of those guys that draws a lot of comparison to Emmanuel Sanders, to be honest. And honestly, the second selection the Broncos made for that particular receiver kind of made that up because of his speed and his athleticism. Not saying that Jeudy is anything but that. Honestly, he does bring athleticism, and he also brings that ability to go and catches the ball. And honestly, he does that very well, and without a doubt. And I believe last time I checked in his stats, I believe he caught for like maybe an 86-yard for a touchdown, something like that. So, he's just one of those guys that you just will know when it comes to the NFL season. He'll be ready to go on day one, and honestly, that's what we need from a guy like him, because the Broncos lacked some wide receivers in this offseason. And I can honestly say, even though they drafted some great wide receivers, I can honestly say the Broncos do need a veteran receiver. I mean, I don't really know anybody who is still available. The only one I can think of is, Demaryius Thomas, which, by the way, he does want to come back to Denver and play for the Denver Broncos and finish off his career where it all started. And, that's just my own personal opinion. I know some Bronco fans feel the way that I'm feeling about when it comes to Demaryius Thomas returning to the Denver Broncos and, finishing off his career and getting 1,000 yards under his belt and, just finishing where it all started. But I can honestly say, even though if the Broncos don't go that route, they do have some great wide receivers that they selected in this year's draft. And I can honestly say, when it comes down to it, they'll be a threat to be reckoned with when it comes to the NFC West. So I can honestly say, guys, the Broncos selection this year was great. They got some offensive linemen. I believe they got also a great selection in this year's draft also, and that is a tight end, which I can honestly say it was also, like I said, guys, when it comes down to it, the Denver Broncos went for a tight end in this year's draft, and I can honestly say this was a smart move by their end, because they got somebody who knows Drew Lock during his times in college. And I can honestly say I believe his name is, last time I checked, they got him there's a nickname for him. I think it's Albert O. So, this guy knows the quarterback and, played with him. And I can honestly say, bringing him in will really help out, somehow if Noah Vance is somehow, God forbid, knock on wood, is somehow gets injured. There's a guy who is in place who knows the quarterback, and I can honestly say will bring a lot of great playing ability out there, and especially blocking. So can honestly say, that's a good selection for the Denver Broncos. And where I can honestly say the rest of the draft fees goes down. They got some defensive linemen, which they also needed as well. And other than that, the only defensive player that the Broncos went for that I can honestly say was a good selection was that CB in the third round. So, and honestly, getting that center also in the third round is the basic need that the Broncos needed as well. And overall, if I had to give a grade for the Denver Broncos selection, I can honestly say that the Denver Broncos, I could give them maybe a B plus, A minus, because the reason I'm giving that sort of low, I can honestly say if I can just give them an A plus, that would be obvious, but I can honestly say overall it was just a B plus to an A minus, because there were some players, to be honest with you, that I kind of saw that the Broncos should have selected, but even though it is what it is, but I can kind of understand why they went that route, because just surrounding good weapons around Drew Lock. Okay, they did the same thing in free agency by getting certain players to be a great weapons around Drew Lock, by getting Melvin Gordon as a running back, and he will basically be helping the quarterback in a huge way. And I believe they got some other players. I think they got an offensive lineman in free agency, which he is basically well known for his ability to guard his quarterback. So they got that particular player, and I'm missing a lot of players off the top of my head. Most of the players really in free agency was defensive players, which they upgraded in a huge way. And other than that, overall, the Broncos' future going down the line when it comes to the next season is very bright. And I truly believe they're going to be a huge threat when it comes to the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Raiders as well. So overall, really, the Denver Broncos, they focused on this season to be an upgraded team, and I can honestly say they have a potential to be a playoff team. I don't really think they are a Super Bowl or a conference team whatsoever. I don't really see that whatsoever. But at the end of the day, with more improvement and the ability to be a great team unit, I can honestly say that the Broncos could potentially go not just in the wild card, but maybe in the divisional. Still remains to be seen about that, and I might be too much hyping the Denver Broncos' chances of it. But judging by what's on paper, what's in front of them, and who they have, I can honestly say, with the ability of Drew Lock being honestly one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, I can honestly say that the Broncos' future is really bright going down the line. And honestly, it's all because of the selections that they made and the free agency signees. And like I said, when it comes down to wide receivers, they got some great wide receivers, obviously, but I can honestly say they do need a veteran presence for the young wide receivers, because last time I heard, I believe the Broncos are basically the youngest wide receiver positions in the NFL. I mean, most of the wide receivers are somewhere ranking around 21 to 26. So honestly, to be honest, the Broncos do need a wide receiver who's a veteran. And I'm not trying to say that they should be like number one option, number two, and number three. They just need that sort of presence in the locker room. And honestly, that's basically what the Broncos should go after if somehow Demaryius Thomas is still available by, I'm not sure, for these next couple of months. Because, it would just be a nice story ending for a guy who, spent his entire career with the Denver Broncos, won a Super Bowl with them. And and also, when it comes to yards, he's basically ranked second as the best wide receiver in franchise history. So, and it would just be great to see him back with the Denver Broncos. So it's still out there, guys, and I just hope that the Broncos consider that. But overall, guys, please comment down below, like, subscribe to the channel, share my videos all over Facebook, Twitter, all the good social media stuff, and please give me your thoughts about the results of the Denver Broncos selection. And guys, if you're not a Denver Broncos fan, please give me your thoughts about the selection in general of the NFL draft. I mean, which teams made the right move by selecting certain players? Was it, I don't know, like the Ravens? Was it the Chargers? Was it anybody in the of any NFL teams that made some great selections that you're a fan of? Please comment down below. You know, guys, when it comes to this channel, I'd like to expand on my channel to more sports coverage. To be honest with you, I mean, more. I'm not trying to say that, you know, me making Lakers videos is, being tiresome. Not at all. I love making videos about the Los Angeles Lakers, but at the same time, I like to expand on my channel because, you know, of certain situations like this, because, you know, there's not a lot of news about the Los Angeles Lakers and including like the NBA. So because of this whole COVID-19, so I like to expand on it. And honestly, without your love and support, guys, I don't know what I would do in my life, because honestly, you guys just gave me the great platform on YouTube, and honestly, it's so overwhelming. I do appreciate every single one of you for showing me the love and support for my channel, and of course my social media sites. Like always, I'll leave the links in the description of this video so you guys can show the love and support for my channel and of course my social media sites. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Go Lakers and Broncos as well. And guys, just real quick, I hope you guys all are doing very well out there when it comes to this COVID-19 that we're in right now. And hopefully you guys are staying safe. Make sure to wash your hands and sanitize your hands. And of course, you know, if you have masks, please wear mask over your mouth. And when it comes to coughing, cover your mouth. And just keep that social distancing. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Go Broncos and go Lakers. And I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy.